Hello and welcome to my first watercolor workshop via YouTube Premiere. In today's video, let's create this simple yet elegant watercolor cards. So let me start by introducing myself, especially to those who are meeting me for the first time. Hello, this is Teacher Bianca, and I've been offering free watercolor workshops via my Facebook page since May 2020, and this is the first time that I am doing this via YouTube. And since it's a bit easier to find videos in this platform, I will also consider doing YouTube lives for my free watercolor workshop starting January 2021. So if you want more videos like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. I have my sketch ready, and if you want to check this sketch, please visit the link below. I always upload my sketch in my Facebook events. So for those who are watching and painting along, please comment present, especially if you are joining the Christmas giveaway, so it's easier for me to filter out those who are joining. Also, if you are watching this via replay, please also comment Replay Squad here, just so I can say hi to you guys and check your comments. So let's start. I am painting directly using burnt umber plus ultramarine blue just to make the brown a bit darker for the house. I am avoiding or negatively painting on the roof since this is a winter scene. The roof is covered with snow. Personally, I haven't experienced snow yet, but I have experienced winter. So since I haven't touched snow yet, I'm just going to paint it. That's the beauty of painting. And for those who've been with me from my previous workshops, you'll notice that I'm using a different paper here. This is Strathmore 500, and I'm actually using the back side of this paper. I've already painted on the front side. For the snow, I have here my permanent violet diluted with water, and I'm using my mop brush to create random shadow shapes. Just be careful not to touch the house because that is still wet, and I don't want that brown color to bleed into my snow. And I'm using a smaller size of paper here. This is half the size of what I usually use for my watercolor workshops. Next, I will work on the background by wetting it first with clean water. And you would want to shift to your bigger brush when doing this. Just be careful not to paint near the brown area of the house because that is still wet. Next, I'm going to drop a mixture of burnt umber plus ultramarine blue plus permanent violet. It really takes practice to get the mixture that you want. You can see me here changing midway. And I'm just dropping it with a smaller brush. You can also see me going darker near the house. This is because I want the white roof to pop out, and to do that, you need to place a darker color beside it. And for a more interesting effect, I'll just let gravity do its wonders and tilt the paper a bit for the pigment to travel down. And while it is still wet, I will drop darker colors, darker brown colors near the roof of the house to make it pop out even more. And again, tilt my paper for the pigment to travel downwards. If you have any questions or inquiries, please comment them down below, and as soon as I am free, I will be answering them one by one. By the moment you're watching this, I might be having another workshop via Zoom and Google Classrooms with Playcrafts. Okay, now I'm painting directly for the fence in the foreground. This time I'm using neutral tint. If you don't have this color, you can go ahead and mix violet, brown, and blue. And this time, make sure that there is more pigment than water to get this thicker mixture. Again, for those who are joining the giveaway, you will need to paint at least one of these 2 cards and then comment or submit your entries in the discussion tab of the event. And you have until Monday. I will announce the winners on Monday. And whoever wins, I will ship the watercolor starter kit on Tuesday. So good luck to everyone. As much as I want everyone to win, my resources are limited at the moment. Okay, I'm darkening some parts of this shadow just to give it more volume. Again, this is a mixture of permanent violet plus a bit of ultramarine blue, and I'm making random shapes. This does not need to be perfect. I'm deliberately leaving the bottom right or the right side of this card empty because later I'll write something on it. So if you want to use your calligraphy skills or write whatever at the front of this card, you might also want to leave the right side bare. I also get a lot of inquiries with this brush that I am using. If anyone knows where to buy a brush like this with a cute transparent handle, please comment them below, because I bought this overseas and I cannot recommend or I cannot find anything that's close to this one. The only one that I know that has a transparent handle is Princeton, but that one is a flat brush. So if you have any ideas on where to buy something similar to this one, please comment them down below. Okay, I'm suggesting some rocks in the snow near the fence, and to do that, I'm just dabbing my brush loaded with burnt umber plus a bit of ultramarine blue. If you have been with me through all my workshops, you'll notice that ultramarine blue plus burnt umber is my favorite color combination to produce this neutral color. Okay, using a smaller Chinese brush. This is a Chinese calligraphy brush and it's only 40 pesos in each in Lazada, but I bought a set of 10 for those who are asking. And it's good for exercises, simple exercises like this. Okay, again, I am just using the tip of the brush to paint those fence. Now it's time for the barren trays in the background. You might find this a bit challenging, especially for those who don't have a small brush. But what I can suggest is to paint away from the tree, away, not towards the tree, as you see me doing. It's easier to control that. And if you're not confident in painting thin lines like this, you might want to grab an extra sheet of practice paper and then just practice your brush strokes first before going on to your painting. It took me a lot of practice to paint thin lines like this using a brush size of, I think this is around 4. There's no label on this brush since it's a generic one. And to achieve a more organic look for these tree branches, you might also try and paint them in different sizes and different angles. Don't try and make them look uniform. Nature is organic and no two branches measure the same. We are almost done with the first painting, and for the final step, I want you to prepare your white pigment. If you don't have any, you might want to skip this step and just go ahead and write something on the card. But for those who have white pigment, I have Chinese white here by Holbein. You might also use zinc white or titanium white. And I'm loading my smaller brush. Use a smaller brush when splattering with watercolor. And make sure that your mobile phone is not beside your painting. And just tap it gently with another brush, as you can see me doing here. And I will continue doing this until I get this impression that it is snowing around this area. And finally, it's time to show off your calligraphy skills. A bit of disclaimer, I haven't studied calligraphy yet, so this is just my handwriting. I'm trying hard to make it look aesthetic and acceptable. But for those who have been into calligraphy, good for you. That skill will really come handy, especially when making personalized cards. So I'll just paint Merry Christmas on my first card, but you're free to write anything that you want. And again, this is neutral tint plus a bit of burnt umber. So once again, this is a painting with limited palette. If you'll remember, we only used ultramarine blue, burnt umber, permanent violet, and neutral tint. For those who don't have these colors, you can just use any brown, blue, and violet that you have and play around, create a swatch if you need to, for you to get the combination that works very well for you. I've been using this color combination for as long as I can remember. That's why I feel confident when picking these colors. Then I have here a purple construction paper. This will be the base of my card. I love how simple yet elegant this card looks. Don't worry if you're not done yet with the first card. You can always replay this video and paint along at your own pace. Now for the next card, I'm painting this cute snowman. I'll start with laying down the shadows of the snow, and again that is permanent violet plus a bit of ultramarine blue. And in laying down the snow or the shadow color, try and avoid the body of the snowman. I am softening some edges with my clean brush just to add contrast with the hard edges. Now I will flip this upside down since I will be working on the background of this snowman. And once again, I am wetting that area, the background area, with clean water. And since the shadow color is still wet, try your best to avoid touching that one, or you'll have the violet color running into the background. But that's okay if you make mistakes in watercolor, and if you're a beginner, my best advice is to just let it go. Again, for those who are first-timers here, I've been painting with watercolor for 2 years now, and I made it a habit and a commitment to paint daily. So if you're a beginner, compared to me, I've made lots and lots of mistakes. I've wasted lots and lots of materials just to get better with this craft. Okay, that is Permanent Yellow by Holbein in the background. And I'm surrounding it with yellow ochre plus a bit of alizarin crimson or whatever pink that you have. And I am painting around those circles. Let's pretend that those are Christmas lights from distant houses in the background. Next, I'll grab my neutral tint and a smaller brush and just paint the eyes of this snowman. You can use black if you want. You're free. Own this painting. This is yours. I'm just showing you how I do it, but I'm not forcing you to copy it 100%. And that's alizarin crimson once again for the tiny nose. I did not make a carrot nose. Instead, that's just a button for its nose. Okay, this time, I'm not sure if I've done this technique before, but this time for the scarf, I am painting the shadows first using a darker pigment, alizarin crimson, and I'm directly painting on the shadows. If you go and check my sketch in the discussions tab of the Facebook event, again linked below, you'll see that I've shaded those shadow area just to remind me that those areas need to be darker than the whole scarf itself. And then later, I'll just wash over the whole scarf shape, including the shadow, with a lighter mixture of alizarin crimson plus a bit of the permanent yellow that I have. For the following Saturdays, I will also have other premieres via YouTube, and I'll also post replays on my Facebook page, especially for those who have no idea that I am shifting to YouTube for my watercolor workshops. I just darkened the area below the snowman, since that should be darker because he is in contact with the snow below him, so that is contact shadow, and that is neutral tint plus a bit of brown. And while waiting for the background to dry, since I will need to paint his hands, I'll just write something on my card. Again, you are free to write anything that you want, but for me, I'll just write this Christmas ... and when you open the card, that's where my message goes. For those also who are asking me what I recommend for beginners, I have prepared a video for that, a beginner kit, starter kit, especially for those who are on a tight budget like me when I started. So please stay tuned with that. I'll also use the same shadow color, which is permanent violet plus a bit of ultramarine blue for the snowman. But for now, if you have access to Prang, Semi-Art, Pebeo, Braves watercolor, those ones I have tested personally, those are good for starters. Also these Chinese brushes, which you can buy from National Bookstore, and Canson watercolor paper, which is only 70 pesos for 10 pieces already. And if you are on a budget like me, you will use both sides of the paper. Okay, this is burnt amber plus ultramarine blue once again, and I'll just draw a simple stick hand for our snowman. If you have questions, again, feel free to comment below. Just remember that just please consider others when you are commenting and use kind and respectful words, and I'll get back to your questions as soon as I can. Okay, this is what I'm talking about earlier. This is a mixture of alizarin crimson plus a bit of yellow, and I am painting over those shadows as well. The whole shape of the scarf, and you can see that the shadows will still stand out because I began by painting them dark and thicker, less water. I don't usually do this technique, but for this card, and since that is a small shape, I feel confident in using this technique. Because usually with watercolor, you start light and you go darker. But for the scarf, I went dark and then I go for the dark area first and then painted the light area. Okay. Making sure that this is dry. And once again, for the final step, which I find very relaxing, we will use our pure white pigment to splatter the snow. Remember to move aside all of your items that you don't want splattered on. But this is watercolor, so this should be washable. So once again, for those who are watching to join the giveaway, you can paint any of these two, or you can paint these two Christmas cards, and then go ahead and comment your entries in the link below and also upload them in the discussion tab of the Facebook events. I will announce the winner on Monday, and the beginner starter kit will be shipped on Tuesday. Okay, let me know which one are you going to try or which one is prettier for you, but I kinda like both. I just wish that I have the calligraphy skills needed for these cards. But once again, thank you so much for joining. And if you find value in this video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Okay, I'll see you in my next premiere and on my next YouTube videos. Thanks so much, everyone. Please stay safe.